Welcome to Net Talk.
Yeah,
I'm Alex.
I'm Mitch.
That's our intro.
Okay, sure.
We're running it straight in to being right in your ear holes.
And then next week we'll change it again.
And then next week we'll change it again. We've got energy today, even though we've been already...
It's because it's Monday. We haven't recorded on Monday for ages.
My bad.
Yeah, it is your bad.
But we've already been talking for an hour before.
My coffee high is still hitting me, so you're welcome.
Yeah, feel. Double strength. Macca's pick up your coffee machine.
No.
Still not using it properly?
No, the coffee machine slayed this morning. It was great.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Is that what's your slay for this week? How's your week been? Your slay and your shame?
Slay's got to go to the Vipers trial last night. I had a few comments being like, Mitch, are you coaching the men or the women? And I was like, I thought I made that obvious, but apparently I didn't. I'm assistant coaching the women's team. I actually had someone call me being like, I'm going to be late to trial tonight. And I was like, I definitely know you're not trialing for this gender. And then they were like, oh, I thought you were coaching the men. And I was like, no, you assumed wrong. So the trial last night was good. My first little stint at assistant coaching. One funny thing though, we did like coach introductions. And this is like a bit ironic because like I hate talking about myself. For someone who's a composer and has a podcast, I hate talking about myself. Like
the podcast and is talking about other people.
No, I know, but like you just humour me
talking.
Yeah. So like when we did the coaching introductions, I was like, I haven't been coaching at a high level for that long, so there's not a whole lot for me to say here. So I just kept it short and sweet. I was like, Mitch, most of you know me anyways, but like whatever. I was like, I coach and I used to play Vipers, like whatever. And then bloody Alison, I'm going to name her because she threw me under the bus. She's like, he has a podcast. And I was like, no, not like this. So then I had to sheepishly be like, yes, I have a podcast. It is about volleyball. And then everyone started piping in like, it's called Net Talk. Go and watch it. I was like, oh, no.
We're going to release the selections on the podcast.
So, that was fun. Thank you for that. But yes, it was fun. It was good. The quality was really high. Didn't see the men's. Can't speak for because we were in like separate stadiums. Yeah. Well, same stadium, separate halls. But it was really good. It was really fun. Hope all the girls enjoyed it. I hope they're not listening to this for this next couple of weeks. And then my shame for this week is I had takeout every single meal all weekend. It was bad.
Lovely.
It was horrendous. I feel awful because it was takeout every single. Yeah, it was bad.
Good takeout or just like slop?
I mixed it up.
Yeah.
Like, what was Dandenong Day? I was in like Saturday. I was at Dandenong both days. I skipped breakfast on Saturday. Terrible idea because I had my coffee really late and I was like, this kind of filled me up. That's a lie. Kate made Nutella croissants. So we took those to Dandenong and ate those as well. And then I had some dim sims at Dandenong Stadium. Everyone knows I love it. I love it, dim sim. And I had my node ropes too. It's great. And then I'm pretty sure it was Macca's because we finished at Dandenong. Yeah, the P2 girls I was coaching started at 7 p.m. Of course it was a 5-setter. Of course it was a 5-setter. Oh. Yeah, of course it was 5-setter. Finished at 9 p.m.
They're turning the lights off on you.
Almost. And then by the time we got home, there was like nothing open. So I was like, I got to do Macca's. So I think we did Macca's. Yesterday, we had GIG after the trial. It was great.
It's so painful, the late finish and then
the late finish.
Looking for like places to get food. And I was like, there's nowhere nice open.
GIG was good though.
It's healthy. That's healthy.
Sure.
Hopefully there's no physios listening. Hopefully Haley's not watching anymore.
Yeah, surely not. I'll get a very angry text if so, because the meal that I was really disappointed in was the KFC meal before trials because
KFC rolled into GYG.
I told you it's a shame. I had takeout all week. Wow. It was really bad because I went to help out the MSAC junior trainings. My housemate is one of the coaches there, so I just went along to help out, and then I was like, I didn't plan this at all because I have not got lunch so I was like, KFC it is.
Yeah.
What's your slaying shame?
My shame can be that I was just a ball of unproductiveness yesterday. I was going to say I was just slop as a person.
I mean, You did rebrand, and people will slowly see this. You did do some work on our branding.
Yeah, I was doing a couple of days, but I should be doing productive work on my
uni.
degree. But I just joked with you when I got here that it's just the problem of I feel like I can't do anything until I do something else beforehand.
Yeah.
And the AVL trials were late, like a 6:30 start on a Sunday is relatively late because they have all the junior trainings, 1,000 junior teams going on during the day.
Legitimately 1,000 though. There's so many.
There's so many juniors there, and a couple hung around to see the start of trials and stuff before their parents probably said, "Let's go home."
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock. Let's go home.
Yeah, please, let's leave. So I was just really unproductive all day, and then
all weekend,
and then all weekend even, but just it hits like the midday, and you're like, all right, I'll go and be productive, and then I was like, actually, I've got to do some stuff first. Go then get to Dandenong. Nog. So even though it's 2.5 hour training, takes that hour to go. Or you just wait 15, half hour to get ready, go.
I do feel you though. I feel like that's a common thing. Like we were talking about before, and I would be curious if people in the audience feel like this. If you have something on in the day, you just are so unproductive until that thing occurs. Like we were talking about, I used to coach at 3 p.m. at a school. And for whatever reason, if I couldn't get something done before 10 a.m., in between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m., I was doing nothing.
Yeah.
It was just I got to do this thing. Just having that loom over you is annoying.
Yeah. And my slay is that anyone out there that's creative, you're a creative, so I asked you for some feedback. But
not visual creative.
Yeah, I'm looking at trying to get in the visual media. I've been listening to a couple different, an Australian designer and some other stuff to try and learn graphics.
Try and freshen up.
Tweak some things. Freshen up our logo. Might be a point of change just to give it a little refresh. And that's a slay. I think it looks all right. It looks nice.
I think it looks good. You did a great job with it.
Integrates into other things. Hopefully it goes well and hopefully people like it. Give me feedback. Tell me it sucks and I'll just change it to be a picture of my face.
I was going to say, we're just going to ignore you.
Yeah. Picture of your face.
No, please no. You're good at designing. That's why I make you do all the designs because I'm just not visually inclined at all. Oh my God, the national and local scene. What's going on, Alex?
Nothing at this time of year. Other than lots of Volleyroos camps, which is good to see the national program trying to reintegrate some more people into the senior teams. Mainly the women's Volleyroos camp, I think, happened last week.
Yeah.
And a touch
earlier. The men's were a week before because there's a few people that their social medias were really active. And then literally the women's, I think they finished today or yesterday. Yeah, today or yesterday.
And they had some media takeovers too. So it's good to see the athletes that are there, the few that are coming back from wherever, college, overseas, interstate even, just all coming together and trying to make a competitive team. It's good to see that they're training. Internationally, there's nothing. So that's why everyone can be back in the country.
This is the weird, the calm before the storm of VNL.
Yeah.
Although in saying that, I have been seeing a lot of practice matches going on at the moment, especially on the women's, because the women's play in 9 or 7 days, I think.
Yeah.
By the time this releases, it'll be 5 days. But otherwise there's legitimately nothing going on that we are aware of. Probably some beach stuff. I think I've seen some AVP stuff start warming into their season. Otherwise nothing.
So we're so boring this time of year.
No, don't be silly. We have VVL to cover.
No, I'm saying it's... Oh, sorry. Yeah, VVL.
Yeah, wow.
No, I thought we were pivoting to an NBA Finals podcast.
No, we weren't. You heard wrong. You've had your monthly 10 minutes of NFL.
I don't get NBA too for the finals.
The only thing I've seen I've actually only seen about the WNBA about Caitlin Clark being the best.
Yeah.
All right. Men's round 8 results.
VVL. Premier League 1.
Yes.
Round 8 happened on the weekend.
Any big upsets?
Actually going to be able to remember some things. Maybe not a huge upset, but good to see. First game of the day is a little bit, maybe a little upsetting.
Well,
Maroondah.
Upsetting for the team that lost.
Always it's upsetting. But Maroondah defeated Mazenod 3-1.
Yeah.
Caught the end of this game because we were also at Empower. You weren't.
I was not.
Sad. But got to watch the end of it because my team was dutying again. Didn't help again.
I mean, you are a coach, so that's fair.
But it was a really good game. Maroondah actually just looked so
I'm looking at the scoreline.
efficient at their attack, like above the net.
I'm looking at the scoreline here. It's like started off 25-12.
Yeah, I didn't get to see that. Should have asked some of the boys what happened at the start of the game, but they did say it was just very one-sided behind the serve line, and the attack, like the transition attack, was really good in that fourth set when I was watching.
Yeah.
Not sure what happened in the third set to get Mazenod that win there, but was a really good game to open up in the morning at Empower or the afternoon.
Your first time at Empower after that later in the days, or what do you reckon at the new stadium?
Well, I've been there coaching,
But playing.
but playing, it's all right. All right. It as a coach, it caught my eye, and I was like, this will be okay, I guess. As a coach, I did a couple hops on the ground and was like, it's a little firm for my old
That's
knees.
how you blew out your calf.
Yeah.
Cold hops on Empower.
As a coach.
Yeah.
And you do just like think, the roof's just a touch low, but it's not really an issue. It wasn't particularly. I mean, actually, in our game, you do get a couple of the balls to hit the roof, but it was mostly on like a float serve that someone shanks to the roof,
Just
or like the
floats
outer
it up.
system. The libero on the opposing team just chased, amazing chase, outer system, dig set, just sends it. And it just it's like, that probably would have just been shy of the roof at Dandenong, but just there, you just get caught out unlucky.
It will never be as low as, and I'm going to throw out a massive shame to Tasmanian volleyball. It would never be as low as that roof.
Stadium for that
stadium
AVL
we played,
round.
Yeah. I reckon just about every second ball hit that roof.
Yeah.
Even on float serves.
It is just so funny because it's that Empower though is such a loud stadium. I guess it's like the brick wall just captures so
bounce.
much sound.
I could tell you.
That it feels like there's so many people there.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. It's not acoustically treated at all. It was the first thing.
You wouldn't produce your music there?
No, absolutely not. It'd be a great reverb chamber, actually. But yeah, I remember the first time in the morning coaching there, first time I saw it, I was like, this is a great stadium, but it's loud. Like the whistles in that stadium, you would get a headache at the end of the day if you were there all day, I reckon.
Yeah. And anyone listening, follow their Instagram.
Yes.
Empower.
I love their Instagram. It's great.
And learn how to park. Did you see that one?
I did see that
everyone's
one.
parking over driveways. It's not Dandenong, right? You can't just go on the grass wherever you want.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Dandenong has 5 times the parking spots, but 10 times the people.
courts,
So it's just like everyone's always driving over the grass. You see someone get bogged every week now that it's winter. There's always one car stuck.
There's always one
But at
silly
Empower,
boy.
they have car parks.
Yeah.
All right, you can park down the street.
Hey, whatever works. Just not in front of someone's driveway, please.
Yeah.
Moving on, though, this was our match of the week.
The match of the week curse is what the Discord called it.
Oh, it is the match of the week curse. This week favouring Monash because they 3-0'd Yarra Rangers.
Yeah.
Neither of us could watch this because it was at Monash and we were both busy at the same time.
I haven't caught the videos yet, but they always upload.
But from what I had heard from a couple of the boys, tight match. Like, you know, as is the case with sometimes a 3-0 doesn't necessarily give it justice.
Yeah.
25-21, 27-25, 25-22. That's sort of, you can sort of assume by that both teams neck and neck until about 18, 19 points, Monash pulls away.
Yeah.
Kind of the assumption. I'm yet to watch the footage, but that's sort of what I was told. Not surprising. I heard that Yarra were missing one of their main opposites. Monash, I think, had everyone.
Yeah.
So I think that was probably your difference maker, like that senior player right at the end of sets. But I don't know, what did you hear?
Yeah, that's similar to what I heard. It would just be sort of unfortunate Yarra's rolling into always like top of the table team, but the last couple times they've been unlucky against the other top of the table teams.
Yeah.
Over the last 3 or 4 rounds, because lost to Heidelberg,
Then
won,
us.
then lost to us, won, and then lost to Monash. So it's just kind of doesn't let you get a consistent flow, which is just unfortunate because any of those games, if you show up differently on the day, probably could have been flipped. But it is just how a one match goes on a Saturday.
Yeah, and I think they're probably not feeling too bad about this because they've played majority of top of the
Yeah.
ladder.
Yeah, they've had a tough fixture through
now,
this portion of the season.
Yeah, now they sort of play lower level team. They play us again pretty shortly, but otherwise they've got an easier schedule, easy, quote unquote easier. But like, yeah, it just happens to be like a bit of a rocky middle of the season for them.
Next up at Dandenong was VFAM Phantoms. Did you get to catch any of this?
They were on the far court.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit. So I think Phantoms have a lot of pieces of the puzzle this year.
Yeah.
Like they lost Sando, yeah, sure. But I think they've got Scott Johnson, a Vipers player, and they've got a young other pass hitter that's honestly plays very similarly to Scott. Not as big, but plays very similarly. They've got a really good setter who came out from college, who's a quality setter. So they've got more pieces of the puzzle than previous years, I think, even without Sando.
Yeah.
And the only thing I saw is that these rallies were pretty long, but I think from the 10 odd points I watched is just Phantoms had more out of system power than VFAM did.
I mean, that second set is the one that VFAM was able to steal, went beyond 25, 27-25.
That was the set I really watched because it started getting really loud over there. And I was like, oh, what's going on?
Might have given a little kick to Phantoms because they then went out and were really strong in the third and fourth, 25-15, 25-19. So that was probably their little, hey.
Wake up call.
VFAM probably was like, hey, we can still get this to go to 5. We can maybe win this if we just keep up that competitive energy, but I guess it faded away a touch. But really good to see that going beyond the 3 sets. Same as the next game, which I took part in.
I'm going to cut you off for 2 seconds. The only 3-0 this entire week was our match of the week.
Yeah.
Every other match was more interesting. Well, I don't want to say more interesting, but different result. Anyways, our
Sometimes
match.
a 3-0 is interesting.
Yeah, fair enough. We went
Our
there.
match. I like that you said our, even though you're not there anymore.
No, I've retired.
Not here.
It's official. I've retired.
No.
My knees are so happy for it. Nah, my knees are fine.
No,
my
you'll
shoulder,
be back. You'll still be jumping in every now and again with some trainings. Come on, and some other stuff.
Come warm the shoulder up every now and again.
Yeah, keep me in my place.
Yeah.
I've got other people to do that now, but
You do.
because we played Melbourne Uni Renegades played Eastside at 2:30 at Empower. Same thing, couldn't be productive before this, you know. Had coached the juniors game at 8:30 at Empower. Now I just have 4 hours floating around the world till I come back to my game. This was actually a really good game. I hope people actually that were there enjoyed watching it. A few people gave me feedback saying it was really good. Eastside really showed up to play this game.
They always seem to show up to play, I reckon.
They were really solid, and it's the first time I've actually really got to properly watch them. And I'd seen a couple of people didn't know his name because he's new to the state, Queenslander actually. Came and is their new pass hitter and was so good for them.
Right.
Ethan, I don't know if you know him. He's a year younger than me, I think, or 2. Had seen him around the volleyball world, and it's like a real big perk of volleyball is that you just see people everywhere.
Yeah, small world.
So many people that play juniors, you just see 10 years down the track, and you're like, oh, you're still playing volleyball?
Wow.
Why?
Shocker.
What are you doing here?
Why did you continue this?
But he was really, really good for them in the first set.
Yeah.
Our first set was 33-31.
Oh, I did hear that it was quite deep.
We took it quite long. I was playing. My fault. Sorry, guys. That's why we lost it.
Did you make a lot of errors?
No, not really. We had a really woeful start. And I don't know.
Surprise.
Yeah, I don't know. This is one of those things where it's like, not to discredit Eastside because I don't want to, because they blocked amazing the whole game. But we also hit really poorly for the first 6 points.
Into their block regularly.
Well, I don't know what it was, if it was just the pass, if it was like the set playing into the blocker's hands a little bit and closing off hitters' options. The hitters also not doing anything to fix it, myself included. So I think we got blocked like 4 times in the first 6 points. And it's just like,
good start.
I think we were down 6-1. And it's like, cool, lovely. Love that for us.
We love a slow Saturday start.
Brought it back, and then both teams were just really, really good in transition. I think we were still reasonably comfortable.
I'm looking at 25-13.
Yeah, that was the next set was like, all right.
Come on,
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
And we're well and truly away from them in the second set. Made some subs, brought some other people through. But that also did let them find their footing a little bit, as is always the issue with like, yeah, your team's comfortable. Let's try some things, roll through some other players. It can always backfire on you and the other team can find their footing again. Because then they were really back competitive in the third and fourth. I think they were just getting unlucky with how their touches were falling in that second set. But the third and fourth, they were back to being relatively competitive. It was just us feeling that
rhythm.
Mojo and that we're back working together, and I was back on the bench. So everyone was looking good.
Where you belong. No, it's good. Yeah, I heard good things.
Yeah.
I heard that we just I
think that's kind of it for that game. I don't really want to. I always feel bad when I forget stuff, especially when I'm really there. But Eastside was really solid, and I see how they go to 5 sets with everyone because they have a really high peak.
Just got to find it for longer. But they are super young as well.
Their setter was making really good decisions across that first set, and that was why it was going for point in that first set, because both setters were doing a masterclass of not just ABC setting, which is what a lot of teams fall into. As soon as you go beyond 25, it's like, oh, I'll go here. Oh, we lost that point. We need a side out. I'll go here. Oh, we win. We lost. But like that's why it goes point for point.
Yeah.
But this was really like a creative showing towards the end.
Which is good because I despise ABC setting. But moving on to the last match of the day, it was Latrobe versus Dandenong. This one was long. Started at 4:30 and it probably finished I think beyond 6:30.
Yeah.
I was in the stadium, but I wasn't really watching this because it was in between my P1 and P2 women's game, and I needed to like just have some me time outside the stadium. But I caught glimpses of this. Dandenong have one of their main pass hitters back.
Yeah.
And I think they played really well. I don't know if this is their first or second win, but this is a good win for them, I think. And this was a competitive match from what I saw. Again, limited saw, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was looked all right. Looked really competitive. It was very loud over there. That's why I had to get out of the stadium. I was like, oh my God. But yeah, good on Dandenong I think I said last week this could be really spicy.
The perk of like a trial is getting to talk to the people that play the next day.
Yeah.
Mainly I spoke to a couple of Latrobe guys and they said, don't talk to me. It's
brutal
because
losing.
I hadn't looked at the result yet.
Yeah.
So I was like, how'd you go yesterday? You guys feel all right?
Yeah.
And they said, don't ask us. And their feedback was a little bit that like Dandenong was just at a very good level and sustained it versus they fluctuated a lot.
Yeah.
And they said like proofs in the pudding that they could have won, like how they went in the third set. They won by quite a bit because they just felt like everything was working, but then it just got flipped on their head again. And they're just going set for set with Dandenong. Yeah. And when they were going down, which I was saying that they were just making a lot of errors on their side of the net. So it was a little bit of like, we're losing this game. But to be forcing a team to say, oh, we're just losing this, Dandenong is doing enough and they're doing well. So.
Yeah, I think as we move over to the women's side and talk about Latrobe versus Heidelberg, the 12:31 match of the women's day. I think Latrobe being a new franchise, that's just kind of it's gonna be their identity until they mature up a bit because both their teams are really young, both their teams are figuring it out. They fluctuate really heavy, right? And that's can be seen as a negative, but what it's really saying is like, hey, you guys have a really high peak. What you need to do is play at a high level and learn how to like sustain it. Because when I was watching, because my women were doing the duty for this Heidelberg Latrobe game, when I was watching Latrobe, to their credit, they can keep up and then go some. But how long can you do that for?
Yeah.
Heidelberg proving like, okay, that's enough of that.
You got to do it for a while.
Yeah, you got to do it for longer than us, which in their case, it's like you're not doing it for as long as us because we've got the experience and the youth to sort of combine that.
And the youth with experience.
And which is what makes Heidelberg such almost like a wild card. Is like, they've got the youth and they've got the experience. Whereas a lot of other teams, it's like you've either only got youth or you've only got experience. Yeah. This was 3-0, but again, probably didn't deserve to be. Latrobe actually played really, really well. Just young, error prone. They'll take some time. Although a couple of their players go to college, so that might hurt them a little bit. But that is how it is. So I did get to watch a lot of that. I also got to watch on the other court, VFUM and Phantoms.
Making the trek down to Melbourne.
Yeah, this game, again, probably didn't deserve to be 3-0. And I, with the greatest of respect, I didn't know who won. That's how close this game was.
Yeah,
I kept having to look at the score being like, I actually don't really know who.
Like where you look at the scoreboard and you have to wait until someone gets a point to see
to
which
figure
side
out-
it gets added on.
So the first set, 31-29. Like, second set,
Long
25-19.
sets in the Premier Division this week.
Yeah, and the third set, 25-20. And like 25-19, 25-20 is like, oh, that's not that respectable. But like, I remember watching sets 2 and 3 thinking this could go the distance because it was, again, 7-all, 8-all, 9-all, and then one team just got all the luck all at once. And that was VFUM. VFUM ended up winning. From what I saw, to VFUM's credit, they out-defended Phantom's hitting errors, more or less, somewhat to that. I just remember thinking in, I think specifically set 1, when it was like 28-all or whatever it was, and then it was like Phantoms had a hitting error. And I was like, oh, that's costly at that point. But you got to do something to break VFUM's defense because that's sort of what they're known for. But again, really good match. Biggest credit is I didn't know who won. Like, I was like, I don't know who's up right now because the set scores are that close.
Yeah.
So that was a really good match. The match of the week.
Finally,
The curse is broken.
the curse was broken.
Yes.
We finally got a match that people get their money's worth out of. You know, you
Just
get
at a
to
different
spend
venue.
some time actually watching some volleyball because it's
Yeah.
not done in the hour and a half. This game went to 5.
It did.
Monash versus Yarra. Yarra sneaking the win. All right.
Indeed. Yeah.
A few people mentioned that this game was really competitive and it went set for set.
Every
which I think is a
single-
really good marker that it didn't fluctuate heaps. It was just like each team
Yeah.
capitalized at their time versus if you get like a 2-set and a reverse sweep, something major goes wrong or changes.
Something gets changed. Yeah.
But set for set just means both teams are just at the top level for however long, and both these teams can sustain that for a full 5 sets.
And every of the 4 sets that go to 25, everyone's above 20.
Yeah.
For every one of those. And then the 5th set score is 15-13. So this one was seriously a nail biter. I heard from just about everyone on both teams being like, this was a great match. This was a match. We finally predicted a good match. I think someone messaged me within 10 minutes of the game finishing and was like, you got your wish. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Trying to remember who was picked in the poll. Who did the fans?
Yeah,
pick, but
I think
don't really
Monash
remember
got.
who it was.
I think Monash got a touch more votes.
Yeah.
So that's twice in a row. People have voted against Yarra, and Yarra have won. So
Yeah, they're trying to get you to respect them.
don't know if don't know if the Yarra guys will be too happy with the people who are voting, but they went out, proved that they. From what I heard, it was just who had more pieces of the puzzle for longer. Monash were missing one of their main opposites. She was at the Volley Roos camp. Honestly, I think this is a big credit to Monash for not necessarily needing her for this match.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they lost, but
Having the diversity to
I think that sort of solidifies the question of does Monash have depth this year without their starters? And the answer is probably yes.
Yeah.
I think a few matches earlier it was like, oh, do we have the depth or do we?
it probably makes you feel reasonably comfortable. Like Yarra now gets to push up to be second on the ladder. Unfortunately, that I think pushed Monash down the slot to be 5th, but they know that they're one game behind a few others, or Yarra's actually one game behind a few others as well in terms of amount played.
Yeah.
But to know that when you're missing a player or not, you're still A-okay. So when everyone's there, hopefully chugging along pre-finals, you find your rhythm and you'll be okay no matter what the matchup is come round 1.
Yeah. So this was a really good match. I have not seen footage yet, but I am going to be hunting that down and watching because my girls play Monash this weekend. Yeah. So I need to know how are we going to do this. And then it was my women's team's match against VIP. Have to give VIP a lot of credit here. And we've given them credit several times now. They can take top teams down. I do think they are a young team. I do think similar to like Latrobe, where they're a newer franchise in Prem 1. They've got great coaching staff. They play really smart. I think that's a really thing that I noticed was like they made it challenging for me to make adjustments because if I made adjustments, they also then copied and made different serving adjustments, and it was very good to see that like yin and yang kind of deal. We started off a little bit slow for us. but then got it done. And
started the first set with a little bit of an afternoon nap, did you?
honestly, yeah. Then the girls woke up really well and then proved that whilst we are a young team, we are a team that has lots of pieces of the puzzle, and we figured it out. We were patient in this. I think that was the key word, is like, how are we going to respond after losing that first set? And the girls responded really well by being patient, knowing that our skills will get us the job. And that was what happened at the end of the day. And then Mazenod and Dandenong. This was after our match on the court next to, so I watched a decent amount. But again, this was in the period where I needed to get out of the stadium and go and hang out. Dandenong proving exactly why they're pretty much top of the ladder. They just... Mazenod had small moments where they might have looked like they were going to catch up and stay competitive, but Dandenong just shut down like immediately. Really tough match for Mazenod to play what is a very good Dandenong side right now.
Good to see. Dandenong is really cementing themselves probably as the best team in the league, maybe on the women's side at the moment.
It's a toss-up between them and Yarra, but I'm going to go with Yarra for the moment. Yeah, I know, controversial, I know, but I think Yarra have a touch more pieces of the puzzle. I think Dandenong are weak in one or two respects, but when their players are firing, they're the best, but when Yarra's firing, they're the best. So it's like, when do they play each other next? That's the real question.
Not for a few weeks, I don't believe.
Do they even play each other again? Yeah, they do. Round 15.
Yeah. Second half of the season.
Wow.
Third last round.
Yeah.
We'll see where they're sitting. Maybe that'll be a 1v2 preview of the finals,
I dare say it will be. So we'll go to the sponsor for this week's episode. This episode is brought to you by Andor Financial.
Now, as some of you know, a good friend of ours, good friend of the show, and our Melbourne Uni Renegades captain, Michael Cirillo, has recently started his own mortgage broking business.
Not only this, but Mike and Andor Financial have committed to supporting and sponsoring Net Talk for the indefinite future.
If you didn't know, Mike has spent the last 10 years in the finance industry in both financial planning and mortgage broking roles, and is super passionate about empowering people to take control of their financial future.
So you, or if anyone you know is in need of a home loan or would like to review their current lending situation, reach out to Mike and Andor Financial.
You can find out more information in the footnotes or description down below.
Thank you again to Andor Financial for sponsoring Net Talk. And we're back.
Round 9. At next week's action.
Yes.
Well, tomorrow's action. This comes out on Friday.
I was like, Alex, it's Monday, please.
Yeah.
No, fair enough.
Starting with the men's games.
Yeah.
We've got Eastside versus V-Farm.
This is going to 5.
And this is...
I'm calling it right now. This is going 5.
This is our match of the week.
This is our match of the week.
Out in Churchill at Latrobe Leisure Centre. So might not be a match of the week many people get to actually be at.
Do we know if either of these teams live stream on their social media pages? Because some clubs do, but I think V-Farm occasionally do. If you guys can sort that out, we'll share it.
We'll get people watching.
Yeah, we'll get.
This will go to 5, and it'll be competitive. And V-Farm's had some relatively strong showings as of late, so they'll be trying to get a win, eke out a win over. Eastside's done really solid. They're sitting at 6 on the ladder, which is finals territory. So they've got to hold on to that spot and not let up, because this is probably one of those games that, like, it is a match to watch for almost that reason, because if you slip up and lose this, if your pass hitters or if your attackers don't show up on this game, you will look back at this game and go, this is what knocked us out of finals.
Yeah, I think this is a game for both of these teams that will dictate whether they sneak into 6th or 5th or they don't. Not necessarily a lot on the line, but this could be season defining for either of these teams. If they got the opportunity, they got to go and take it.
Yeah.
Next one.
Monash versus Dandenong out at Monash Uni at 12:30.
Yeah.
This will be good. I think Monash will be relatively comfortable, so they'll just be making sure that they're going through the right steps. Dandenong will be hoping I think, to be as competitive as they have been in their games. They've pushed some top teams.
They'll just need to take their opportunities
really far,
when they come. And then knowing they're not going to get many against Monash, they're going to have to take them really hard. And
they'll have to try and force their service pressure to be really strong, which is what they did against us a few weeks ago, and just sustain that, which is really hard to do.
And then Heidelberg versus Latrobe. Latrobe, you have my prayers.
Heidelberg's been rolling.
They've been rolling. They've been unstoppable.
They'll get there 2 minutes before your game starts, and they'll be okay.
Yeah, if I have any advice for Latrobe, I think you just got to go and have some fun and genuinely just go and rip the ball and hope for the best. I actually think there's
just start playing.
Yeah,
you're just there for some reps, you know.
Just have a bit of fun.
Just casual reps. Just a social league.
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. Last match of the day is Mazenod and Yarra. I think this one could be a bit spicy. This one could be good.
Yeah.
But with the way that Yarra have been playing, I think Mazenod are up against the wall a little bit. I think they'll have to. How do you beat Yarra if you're Mazenod? I think you have to really lean into your serve and block.
Yeah.
I think you have to.
They've got some great blockers, so they'll be looking at that, and then their transition attack just needs to be better.
Yeah. Probably need to run through the middle against Yarra as much as they possibly can. But Yarra probably got the answer for this one. But you never know on the day.
Never know.
Yeah, they're at Mazenod College, so they got home ground territory. Not that that means anything, but it might. Moving on for the women, we got Mazenod and Yarra as well.
In the morning out at Mazenod.
I think Mazenod women hoping to be really hungry, like after sort of getting smoked by Dandenong, like top of the ladder. Now you're playing second on the ladder. Like really
back to back.
It was seriously a tough back to back. But I think if you're Mazenod, you're looking at this week going, all right, we're gonna hit training really hard. We're gonna get the most out of it, and we're just gonna push Yarra as high as we can, and that's a win.
Yeah.
Yarra just looking to be themselves, consistent, strong, answer the puzzle, see if they can get some depth out there. Like that's sort of their thing.
Same as the next matchup. Latrobe's coming up. Sisyphus Mountain, pushing the boulder up an infinite mountain against Dandenong. So
again, I feel for Latrobe as a whole this week. It's going to be tough.
It'll be a tough match, that one. Dandenong firing at all cylinders. That one at Dandenong at 12:30. Does Dandenong get to claim home field advantage?
Sure. Go for your life.
Sure.
Go for your life. Yeah. And then next one, VIP and VFAM. This one could be a bit interesting, I think. I think VIP have all the pieces they need to go and get this done. They've got to be really patient against VFAM. I always gas them up every week about how good they are at defense.
Yeah.
And they are. But they proved that Phantoms didn't have enough. So I think VFAM got this one in the bag. But again, I think VIP can genuinely do it. They played really well against us last week.
It is a bit of a short turnaround because they did play each other 3 weeks ago, and VFAM got it done then, relatively comfortable. So we'll see if they can just do the same thing, or if any players on that VIP team got the extra experience there.
This next one is our match of the week. It's Heidelberg versus Maroondah Cobras.
Our 3v4 on the women's side. Both teams just sitting up there because they've eked out some important wins when needed.
Yeah. Cobras this year look really strong. Like Cobras in past have not been super strong on the women's side, but this year they've really put the pieces together. They've got the roster. They've got the pieces of the puzzle. They took us to 5 at the start of the season and won, and they were really strong. And I've seen them bits and pieces here, and they look really strong. So this is going to be a big deciding match of like, I think this is the second time they play a genuine top 4 kind of team other than themselves. So it's kind of like, all right, like, how do you do against really tough team? And Heidelberg figuring it out over the last few weeks. Now they've got all their players back. So this is going to be a really good one to watch, I reckon. This is at SVC at 2:30. I'm pretty keen for this one.
That'll be good. And last game of the day is yourself. Not yourself, but team you're coaching, Melbourne Uni Renegades women versus Monash University.
The university, the blue university matchup.
The big blue match.
Yeah, the big blue match, a rematch.
There are a lot of uni students on both these teams.
Yes, and we lost the big blue match a few weeks back, so I'm hungry for...
See if
we can take it up against the big bad blue.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun. I think this will be fun. Monash, they're a top 3 team at the moment on the ladder. They're looking good. So I'm a bit anxious. They've got all their players this weekend, but I think it'll be a good challenge for the girls to see like where we're sitting. There's not much more to say about that one.
We'll be
around.
eagerly watching. I have a very relaxing weekend this weekend.
No, I'm gonna drag you out there. You're gonna coach.
I'll be there.
And
I'll
you're going
try.
to take
I
photos.
will not do that. I'll try and get some media there.
You're gonna assistant coach me.
What's a graphic without taking some photos? So I'll have to come and
take some photos.
Learn how to take photos and get used to those scary buttons on all these cameras.
Everyone's got to do big celebrations for Alex.
Yeah,
okay. Especially if you're at SBC.
There was a few good photos from this weekend that I got shown. One of our P2 men doing a little shh to the camera.
I did see that. That was good. Good. Yeah.
Keep sending us your stories from around the leagues as well. We had a few come through to us of some, I was going to say high scores in the Discord.
Yeah, there was
a couple low scores.
There was
a couple of 25 sub 5 pointers again in I think Res 1. So good to see. But even P1 was having some 33 point sets this week.
Teams are figuring it out,
which is really good to see. Everyone's siding out really efficiently and serving well.
I am going to give a late slay to my under 19. I'm assistant coaching the under 19 women's team. They 25-1 a team a few weeks back.
Well, a few weeks back.
I just
a bit slacking.
It slipped my mind until you mentioned the low scores. But yeah, they 25-1 another team. I couldn't remember who it was, but if anyone's seen that under 19 women's team, they've got some seriously good players in that team. So
and they're making use of this is a perk of, I don't know if we've really focused on it at all this year. The fact that that VV has brought back to under 19s being able to play across multiple divisions.
It's good because
one of them can sit in your P1 team.
One of them does sit in my P1 team, and the other one sits in the P2 team. I think it's good for juniors to play as much as they can because realistically, those two players are riding the bench of those teams, being called up for very small roles. But that is the junior life. Like you and I did that, and we turned out okay. Strong emphasis on okay.
We turned out fine, I guess.
Yeah, we're okay. We're not. Yeah. We're basically has-beens at this point.
I have been.
Where we even? Yeah,
I've been a has-been. I've been a has-been for so long.
Where we even been?
Yeah. I've been.
Anyways,
I've been.
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Come say hello to us on the weekend. You guys will catch us on all the social medias, all the TikToks, and you guys know. Come on,
you guys know by now. Net talk.
Yeah,
talking net. Throw it in at the end.
I was waiting for when you would do it. All right. We'll see you all in the next one.
See ya.